Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Hold on one second. I was saying that I'm going to start in a minute. Just give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So, welcome everybody to our Global BA stand up. Thank you all for joining. Thanks to everybody for being here. I'm happy that I could see you guys here in the meeting, and also welcome to those who are joining on the live on YouTube. If you see me looking up, it's because I'm looking at my other device over there. Before we get started, can you guys put in the chat where you guys are coming in from? Where are you guys coming from? I always like to see, since this is the global BA stand up, where in the globe is everybody? Put it in the chat. Let's see. Or if you want to just say it, that's okay too. You're free to come off mic. And for those of you who are joining us from YouTube, if you want to participate in the sessions, you can go to karaleise.com. At karaleise.com, you see a pop-up that asks you to join the Global BA Stand-Up, and then you can sign in and you'll get the meeting invite, and then you can join. And for those of you who are already here, if you already signed in or signed up from previous Global BA Stand-Up, just save it to your calendar, and you get reminded on the first Monday of every month to join us here where we all meet. It's a great space for us to talk about our career, for me to give you some love. You know, this is February, the month of love, and also Black History Month. So it's a great time for me to help you. If you have any questions specifically about the career, we can just chat and vibe, and I can give you some advice. So that's what we do every single month on the very first Monday of that month at 10 a.m. Eastern until 11 a.m. Now today is a very packed day for me, so I'm going to have to end exactly at the top of the hour. So we're going to try to make the most of our time together. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I see people here from Toronto. Welcome. UK, Atlanta. Woo! I'm in Atlanta, so whoever's here from Atlanta, welcome, welcome, welcome. We should meet offline and have a drink or something since we're in the same city. Kent, United Kingdom. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. We have Cape Town, South Africa. Awesome. Ontario, Canada as well. Great. Nice. Put in the chat, guys, where you guys are from. Let's see. We've got Houston on the live. We've got Columbus. We've got India in the house. Saudi Arabia. Wow, what time is over there? It's supposed to be very early for you guys. Welcome, 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 everybody. I'm so happy that you guys are here. You'll see Joshua in the chat. He's going to be assisting us today. Joshua is always like my right hand, so he'll help you out in the chat if you guys have any questions there. India, awesome. So we have a good mix of people from all over the world. So I'm very, very happy to have you here. So how do we normally do this? For those of you who are new, we normally just start talking about what are the things that are challenging you, and we start with the people who are looking for a job, because that's typically been the most painful part of being a BA, just getting started, right? So we start with who is looking for a job, and you can ask any questions that you have about the job market, about resumes, about trying to get a new role. And then we'll talk about the people who already have a job and what are some of the challenges that you're having in your current role that maybe I could help you with. And then I'll share with you any upcoming thing that we have going on at karaleise.com or the backofficeclub.org. So without further ado, and if you're on the call, feel free, you can always jump on and I'll put your hand up if you have something to ask, and I will point to you and you can come off mute and speak. And in the live, you can put your question in, but I don't promise to get you all the questions, especially today when the time is short. So let's get started with the people who are in the job market. If you're in the job market and you're looking for a job and you have a question that you think I can help you with, feel free to go ahead and ask your question. Let's see. Anybody have a question that they want to ask? How many people we have on this live? Like 21 or 22 now? Nobody have a question here? Anybody have a question about your job hunt? Nobody want to be shy? It's a safe space, people. Well, I'll tell you what I want to talk about since we don't have any questions. So over the last month in January, we had the release of the World Economic Forum's job market report. And one of the things I found to be very impactful was how much they had analytical jobs as being at the top of the kinds of jobs that are futuristic and that they're looking for in 2025 and onwards up to 2030. So it's a good indicator to us that our role is still relevant. You know, a lot of people are worried about AI, we're worried about intelligence, or we're worried about just layoffs, and with the economy is not really getting much better, there's a lot of anticipation. People are trying to hold on to the jobs that they have, and those who are trying to break in. A lot of people have told me that they have applied and applied and applied and applied, that they have sent out so many applications, and sometimes the employers ghost them. Sometimes the employers have them go through many rounds of interviews, but at the end of it, there is nothing, like there's no offer. And some people feel kind of cheated because you spend all this time and energy and effort going through the different rounds of interview, and at the end you don't even know why you weren't given the offer. They don't give you any information, you never hear back from them, and it's a very disheartening experience. Some people have also told me that they've been applying on LinkedIn with a quick apply, and sometimes they see so many people have applied to the job, 500 people, 1,000 people, and the job has just been there a couple of days. So the environment in which we're living in terms of getting a job is very daunting, right? But there's a lot of people who have been able to land jobs in 2024. I know in 2025, I have at least 2 or 3 people who did consults with me who have been able to secure a job. And some of the things that they have done to be able to kind of get through is, one, the resume. And every time we have a GlobalBA stand-up, I talk about this. The resume is so key because it's your representative when you're not in the room, right? And I've seen people who have said to me, Karaleise, I'm trying to get a job and I'm applying and I'm applying. And when they finally book the consult and I look at the resume, well, I know why you're not getting called, right? Some cases you have a good resume, you're still not getting called. But a lot of cases, the resumes I'm seeing, it's not helping you, right? So be very cautious and be very intentional about your resume. I've seen people make very silly mistakes that they put more of the stuff on the resume has to do with the role they're currently in, like the job that they're doing. Like if you're doing customer service or you're working at CNA, you're doing all of that stuff. A lot of that comes out in the resume, even though you're trying to make it seem as business analyst as possible. But there's a lot of people that put the things that they put on there, you can't see them in the light of a BA, except for the job title that they put. They put job title, but then everything that they put in the bullet points, it just doesn't add up. Other things I've seen on the resume, which I want to call out, is sometimes you copy and paste, right? So you go on ChatGPT, give me a resume for BA, and they give you something and you copy it, you paste it, or you see somebody else's resume, you copy it and you paste it. And I'm not saying that you have to do what you have to do, right? But sometimes that tells on you, because sometimes in one job you're claiming to do too many things. You're claiming to do project management stuff. You're claiming to manage budget. You're claiming to manage architecture. You're claiming to manage programming. Like, nobody's going to believe you. Nobody believes that in one job you had all of these responsibilities, because in no company would one person be doing all those things. So because you don't have the exposure to the role, it just sounds nice, right? You just put it on a resume. But then when a real recruiter, it might go through the ATS, the application tracking system. But when a real recruiter looks at it, a real human looks at it, they're like, no, right? And they don't call you, or if they even call you, you don't go very far. So that's one problem. So just being able to make the resume better is the first step, because you have to get through the application process with your resume. If you know somebody who can give you a connection and can refer you, that's always good. But a lot of us are going through the regular route, which is just applying to jobs where we have no connections and no referrals, right? So we have to make sure the document that we send is a good representative of ourselves. The other thing I've seen on the resume too, which I find alarming, which anybody can fix, this is very fixable, is the formatting. This is basic stuff. Like if you have a resume, people are trying to make the resume fit into one page. And it's because they don't have a lot of BA experience anyway, so they're trying to just make it all compact. But in doing so, you end up making it very hard to scan, very hard to read. Again, it can go to the ATS because that's a system just reading it. But when it gets to an actual human, they are like, if you can't write your resume for yourself properly, then maybe you're not going to write my documentation properly, right? And so the document you present to them is not good. So they just don't even call you. So that's a problem. We have to make sure that when we document things, like problems I see on resumes, like it doesn't have enough spacing. Like the margins aren't there. There isn't space between the different sections. The section headings have different formatting. Some is centered, some left aligned, some is all caps. And then sometimes I see people put bold. Everything is bold. The date you start working is bold. The job description is bold. The place you're working is bold. If all of those things are bold, nothing stands out. If everything is bold, nothing is bold. So small things, little things like that, people get caught in, right? So I just want to encourage you to be very mindful of your resume. So in some cases, the resumes are great. I've seen also in my consults resumes that are flawless, like beautiful, well put together, good professional summary. But when they get into the interview, so the resume gets them a call. The recruiter is like, yes, this person looks good, check. When they get into the interview and they need to speak to back up that resume, now they fall apart. Right? I've had people reach out to me and say, Karaleise, I know my resume is good. I'm getting calls. But when I show up for the interview, I don't know, I get all nervous and maybe I'm not answering the questions right and they just don't move me forward. Right? So the next part of it is once you get the resume down, you have to know the stuff. A lot of people tell you just lie, right? Just go in the interview and make up a bunch of stories. Just sit and practice the stories well and show up in the interview and try to make your best foot forward. Because you don't have the experience and you're worried that if you don't say things, they're not going to give you the job. I believe that if you do the training, I have a lot of videos on YouTube, as you know, and there's a lot of other creators out here creating very good, useful content that even if you were to pay for a university degree, you wouldn't get this information, right? Going to college, we're actually providing you more real world stuff than your college degree ever provided you, and you pay much more for that. So there's so much content that there really isn't a reason for you not to have enough information to show up in an interview and speak properly and confidently about the role, right? Even though you haven't worked in it, if you go to my website, I say this every time, there is a section that says case studies. And we have free case studies. We have, paid case studies like $15, less than a can of juice, can of soda, I guess, or 2 cans. I don't know how much soda right now with all this tariff stuff. But but there's stuff. So you can, if you don't have the job, you can go look at examples of the kinds of problems that we solve and then practice them, and you'll find the answer in one of my videos or some other creators' videos. There's a lot of people out here who make content for business analysis. So, you can find the answer. So you can practice so that when you show up for the interview, you have some context and you can back up what you put on the resume. And that's very important. It's just time and dedication and consistency. A lot of us, we want to get the job, and it's very frustrating when you're trying to break into a new role, especially if you haven't done it before. One of the things I've found is that making a change is sometimes the most painful thing, because the thing you're doing, you don't like it, but at least you know it. You know the people, you know who you're working with, you know the challenges. To make a jump, a leap from that which is comfortable to something that you don't know, with the promise that it's going to provide you much more freedom. You possibly get a hybrid job. Right now, everybody going back to the office, so it's probably going to be hybrid. You could still get a remote job. You can have a better work-life balance. You can earn a much higher salary. You can change the arc of your career. It's possible. A lot of people do it. I coach people every day and they get jobs even in the worst economy. So you can definitely make that change. You just have to be committed to it and decide, I'm going to do this. Because if you don't make a change, the rest of this year, 2025, is going to be just like last year. You are in control of this change. So I would encourage you to be consistent, to keep going at it. And I know that this would be a career that you'd find very valuable and very, very beneficial. All right, I've been talking for a while. Does anybody have a question on the job hunt? Let's see what y'all are talking about over here on the live. Somebody says the job market is okay so far. Good, that's good. And another person says how to transition from BA to product manager. All right, I'm going to talk about that. Faloni, I see your hand up. I'm going to give you a second. So how to transition from BA to product manager? Well, do you want to transition from BA to product manager? Is that a natural course of your career? In some cases it is, because the product manager typically is managing the roadmap and I just did. If you guys haven't checked out my Spotify, I have a Spotify where I do podcasts. It's just really talking about stuff. I just released a new episode, talked about the biggest challenges with roadmaps that product managers need to be aware of. So to transition from BA to product manager, it's not a hard transition. It's very aligned. The two careers align very well. But the focus is different. So with the BA, you're focused primarily on delivering requirements, right? It is your job to figure out what we need to do, to document that, to do all the research around that, and to make sure you can clarify what that is to the different teams. Sometimes you'll use data. Sometimes you lean on, database administrators. It depends on what you're trying to solve for. The product manager, their main focus is on what is on this roadmap. Should we be doing this thing? So the product manager focuses on doing the right thing. Is this the right thing to focus on? And they have ultimate responsibility of that. It's a good paying job. I don't often find that the salaries are that wild for me to make a switch, right? It's just a different focus area. So you're focused on making sure you have a roadmap that you can communicate to your leadership team, you can communicate to your customers, like which feature is going to be available, where are we going with this product. So you're managing the lifetime of the product. So it's a different focus area. If you want to transition, I would say just apply. If you already are a BA, you understand how roadmaps work, you understand how requirements work, you understand how to work with developers, all this stuff. You already understand these things. So just apply for it. You have all the skills already as a BA that will lean towards you becoming a product manager. I guess the only thing you'd have to demonstrate is that you can prioritize, right? And you can build a roadmap, and that you have ability to discuss things at an executive level. So there's that. All right, I'm going to turn over to Falone. Hey, how are you? Welcome, and go ahead with your question.
Good morning.
Morning.
My question was, what's the I don't see it on your website, but I'm asking for me and a friend of mine because she wanted to know as well, and I sent you an email, but I never got a reply.
I replied to you.
I don't know what your turnaround time is for email, so I told her, she might even be in here, but I told her, you know what, I'm just gonna ask during the stand-up if she doesn't reply back. I'm like, am I using the wrong email address? But we wanted to know, I told her I don't think you offer it because I don't see it on your services. Because she thought you did resume revamps. I was like, I don't know if she offers it because I don't see it, but maybe she does and it's not advertised. I don't know. That's a good question for me as well. So
So I saw the email and I responded. I thought could be my outbox.
No, I didn't get an answer.
I'm sorry, Feloni. I thought I responded, but the answer was that right now I don't do the resume, only because I really get in deep when I do a consult. You've done a consult with me. It goes deep. Yeah. It goes really deep, and so I have to understand your background. I have to make sure I understand exactly what you've been doing, and I sit with you for a long time to just craft the best resume that would be aligned with what you've been doing, so that when you get in the interview and you need to give a story, you don't have to forget all of your history. You don't have to forget the work that you've done before. You can just speak to it in terms of where of what you did applies to the BA role. What are the transitional skills that you have? So it's really in depth, and I haven't been offering it. I stopped offering it a couple of years ago because it takes a lot of energy, and I was just not in a place to be able to give that as on a regular. And it was very popular, by the way. So right now I don't offer it.
I bet, because I was like, wait, I want Karaleise to do mine too.
No, I don't offer it right now. But I, like you said, in the consult that we did together, I do review your resume, but I don't write it for you. So I think
that's why she asked, because I told her about our consultation and stuff like that. So that's where she brought it up. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think she offers it, but I'll ask.
Yeah, but in your case, because we did a consult, and Faloni did a consult with me, and we had a great time.
And part of yes, guys.
When you do the consult, a part of it is to review the resume that you have. So in your case, because you've already done a consult, when you do that revision from what I told you to change, you can always send it to me, and I can tell you, hey, this is what it is, or you're missing this and this. So in your case, it's special, but everybody else would have to have done a consult for me to do that. So, all right. Somebody else had their hand up. Can you go ahead? I don't remember. Let's see. Maybe they put the hand down. Okay. All right. Let's see. Here, somebody else on the live says, I have taken MBA in business analytics. My placements are going to start from October. Any advice so I can stand out from others? So this is another thing I made a video about recently, which is business analytics. And most of the universities, they will teach you business analytics when you try to do a business analyst course. And that's because it's just easier to teach business analytics. You have data. They teach you how to do SQL queries. They teach you how to look at big data and try to make predictions about trends and all that stuff. So data analytics and business analytics is very popular for them to teach you at the university level. But when you get into the real world of work, sometimes the two things are two different streams of careers. One is going into analytical side and one is going into business analysis and functional analysis, right? So I would just say that business analytics is a slightly different career from business analyst. The business analyst does use data to help the business make decisions, but your role is not completely doing analytics. The difference really is with business analytics or data analyst, you start with the data. The data is there. It's sitting in a database somewhere, but it's all over the place, right? And your job is to pull it together and make sense of it. And what questions can you answer with this data? That is the main point. But with the business analyst role, sometimes you don't even know what the problem is you have to solve. Right? You don't start with, there's no starting point. You have to figure out where to start. Sometimes it's with the data, sometimes with the stakeholder, sometimes with the system. You don't even know where the root cause of it is, and you have to do that analysis. So it's a different career altogether. But I will say that as you go in, if you want to stand out from your the other people there, and part of it is standing out, but part of it also is the falling in line, right? Sometimes you don't always want to just be different. You want to go in, when you start a new job, you want to understand where they put what kind of reports do they have, what kinds of questions they're trying to solve, where's the data, understanding with the data schema and all that. Those would be probably the most important things to start with if you're getting a job in business analytics. So there's that. Somebody else says, how do you stay focused during refinement sessions? How do you stay focused? This is a good question because sometimes it can be very distracting. Part of it is that you are facilitating the refinement, right? You are the one who, even though you're there to learn from the stakeholders, but you have to guide them where you want them to go. You can't just have, free-for-all conversation because you'll waste people's time and you'll waste your time because you have a deadline to meet also. So you got to be very focused. I always start my refinements. Before I go into the refinement, I try to understand what it is that I want to get out of this meeting. What do I not understand? What is the thing that if they were to clarify for me, I would better be able to determine what my requirements are. So I am very focused in my stakeholder interviews. I try to prep the questions ahead of time for myself. I don't always share it, but if I can share it, I'll share it so that they also come prepared. And I try to keep the conversation, always bringing it back to the focus, right? Even if we might go off a little bit because we want to learn additional context, but you can't have multiple conversations going all different places because you end up not having a useful meeting. And especially when you're doing workshops, I do a lot of workshops. A lot of times I fly out of the country to go to some country to do some workshop. I was just in Montreal the other day. Beautiful place, by the way. Y'all Canadians, y'all having a great time over there, even though it's cold. And I'll tell you this sidebar. I actually found that I liked the cold. I was worried about it because I've never been to Canada in this time, like in January. And I was like, oh my God, it's so cold over there. My goodness. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, actually. And most of my coworkers are taking Uber to go to, because we went out for lunch and all that stuff. I'm like, no, I'll walk, because Montreal is a very walkable city. I'm like, I'll walk, and I was walking, and what I loved about it, guys, was how efficient y'all are. Like, as soon as the snow fell, the snow plowers are out there clearing the road. I live in Georgia. We had a little bit of snow, maybe like, 4 inches. The school was shut down, like everything's shut down. People couldn't do anything. We don't have the infrastructure for any of that stuff. So it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the crisp air. It's a very beautiful city. I enjoyed it. So that was my sidebar. But yeah, so when I'm doing these workshops and I travel to do these workshops, we prep there's a lot of prep work ahead of time because it's a big group of people. And when you have a big group of people, it's easy to get sidetracked. It's easy to have side conversations happening. It's very difficult to keep everybody focused. So there are some tools and techniques I use to try to manage a large group that's doing a workshop. And I have videos on that. You can just search my channel for how to run multi-day workshop and you'll see lots of tips about how to do that. All right, so let's move on to the people who already have a job. That's a good segue into moving out of people who are looking for a job into people who already have a job. And just before I move on, I want to say, I want to keep you encouraged in your job hunt. I want to keep you encouraged in your job hunt. People are landing these jobs. It's taking more effort. Apply on the website where possible. I want you to not be discouraged when you see the number of applicants. So if you see an application or a job on LinkedIn that has 500 applicants, it just been 2 hours. Don't worry about that. A lot of these applications are going nowhere, right? Some of them people just applying even though they don't qualify, even though they don't meet anything. So a lot of them get cut out of the application process. So you don't let that deter you. Don't be deterred by some of the requirements that you see in the job. Like, for example, if it's asking you that you must have certain things, fine. If it's saying that you must write BRD, you must know how to work in agile, you must know how to work with, development team, fine. But if it has other things like, you must know how to use a specific tool or something, don't let that deter you because you can learn tools. If you have to know, Tableau, okay, you learn it. If you need to know Visio, you learn it. It's not hard. A tool is a tool. It's easy to learn. So don't be worried about tools. So don't disqualify yourself on some of the things that you might see. And if you're not strong on data, like I do this all the time. I put this on my social media all the time. A lot of the employers will, because of what's happening in academia, where they're teaching you data analytics for a business analyst, and obviously they have a lot of data and they want to make sense of it. So some of these business analyst jobs are really data analyst jobs or financial analyst jobs. Sometimes you're working closely with the CFO. So you're nowhere near requirements elicitation. You're nowhere near software development. You're nowhere near implementing a project, a software tool like a COTS implementation. You're nowhere near that. Sometimes the job is just about you getting data and helping them to come up with reports and dashboards. And that's what they call a business analyst. So be very thoughtful about the business analyst job that you're applying to, because not all of them are equal and the employers have not really learned to differentiate between a BA and a data analyst, or a business analytics, like this job that this guy talked about. It's business analytics. If they call the job business analytics, that would be accurate. But sometimes they call it business analyst. So when you're looking for jobs, you can look for a business analyst, you can look for product owner, product analyst, functional analyst. All of these are basically business analyst jobs, right? So you can widen your search as well. So I want to keep you encouraged. Keep out there, keep applying, make sure you're keeping your resume up to date, and you will get the job. It's early days yet. We're at the beginning of 2025. I want everybody who is looking for a job to be able to land one before the year ends. It does take a little bit of time, but I believe if you keep consistent, you'll be successful. All right? Okay, moving on to people who have a job. Swati, welcome back. How are you? Swati, go ahead. Oh, she had her hand up, but I don't know if she's looking for the unmute button. Maybe she's looking to unmute herself. All right. Okay. Does anybody have a question about the job that they already have? You are talking? Swati, we can't hear you. Is it just me? Anybody else can hear her? I can.
Swati.
We don't hear you, Swati. I'm sorry. It may not be working. We don't hear a thing. All right, we'll come back to you. Does anybody have any questions on the ongoing job that they have as a business analyst right now? Okay, Labostic, go ahead. Welcome back, Labostic. I think you've been here everyone, right? I don't know. I think I've seen you quite a bit. Thank you so much for being consistent and always joining.
Thank you, Karaleise. I was just actually lowering my hands now because you were only asking about people who currently have jobs and stuff they want to talk about. But it's actually different because the last time you said to, basically, if Joshua can be kind enough to drop the email that I can send an email to, because we talked about the last Insightful and being able to get access to that Insightful. The last time I didn't know the email to request for the access, please.
Oh, okay. So Joshua, you can send her
Yeah,
an email from my
please.
Carly's blog email. Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
sure, Lobotik. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Cheers.
All right. Anybody else in terms of the job that you currently have? Also feel like my life went weird. Okay, it's back. Okay, cool. All right, Swati, are you back? Or not? Oh, you're working on. Okay.
Karaleise,
Yes.
can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Have already posted my question in the chat, but I'll read it anyway.
Okay.
So, Karaleise, I'm working on a database project. It's a longitudinal database project where we have created a database with a certain gold standard data format. And during this process, we have outsourced this project to a vendor and successfully implemented the database. And also, we have built Power BI dashboards utilizing the data from this database. Now we are in the closing phase of the project, Karaleise. So could you kindly advise on the areas that I need to be thinking about or taking care of during this phase?
Yeah, so well, congratulations, first of all, that you got it to the end. Congrats on that. I know you were working on that for quite a bit, and you had mentioned it before in some of our previous GlobalBA stand-up. That's awesome. I'm happy that you guys got to the end. It's not,
Thank you.
sometimes some of these projects fail, and we don't get to the end. It's like we just give up, it's spending too much money.
That's true. That's true. There is a challenge here. Anyways, there is a challenge that we have, 2 months beyond the project timeline, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah.
It's not often that a lot of projects end on time also. So, it's okay.
That's true.
It's not great, but it's okay. So in the closing phase of the project, that's when everything is wrapping up, right? You typically want to help them with the release. So whatever you changed, whatever new reports you came up with or new dashboards that you came up with, however the system works, you're going to become the subject matter expert in this thing because you've been there from the inception. You understand what was built. You understand how it impacts the existing processes. So you're going to have to be helpful. I don't know how your company is structured, but in many cases, you liaison with the technical writer who needs to write the help files or any user manuals that they have to write. You have to give them the information so they know what to write in there. You're typically going to work very closely with the marketing. Maybe I don't know if this is going out to any clients, but if it is, then
Yes,
the clients.
sorry to interrupt you, Karaleise. Actually, with this project, what we are trying to achieve is we are trying to run the bad jobs and pull the output files from this database and send it to a client. That's what this project is all about. So we were able to successfully generate those output files or annually output files, with these data elements, and we have validated. Internally, the UAT team has already tested the data format within the output files once they have been generated. The UAT is successful and we have promoted to production and we have generated the output files and also smoke tested the activities and all.
Good.
Everything is in place. Now we have shared, we have also tested the SFTP location by sending a few test files to the client to ensure that they were able to process those files on their end.
Nice.
Last week, finally, we have sent the production output files into their SFTP location, and we are waiting for their feedback today. Maybe by noon, we'll be having some update from them. I'm expecting that. We are having, email conversations regularly with them to ensure that, all the questions or concerns that they have been are answered properly.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, going forward, Karaleise, the thing is that these batches will be run annually, and the team will be sending these output files continuously to the client. So
Okay,
this is
good.
an ongoing process.
It'll be yeah, right. Okay, cool. So in that case, because the client is getting the files, it sounds to me the client would be the one updating their documentation as to what the files are that they're going to be getting. So it may not be you. You might just become, at this point, you become the subject matter expert in case there's any questions on their side. So yeah, it's a little bit different from a lot of different projects. But in your case, because you're doing it on behalf of a client, then and the UAT went well, everything. What he didn't mention was some of the other testing, right? They have to do penetration testing, make sure you're not doing anything strange. So all of those other testing, you just kind of stand by in case there's any question on the requirements part of it. But really, at the close of the project, your part is kind of done. You're just a resource for information at this point. You're not really necessarily creating any new artifacts because the project is done and closing out at this point. And yeah,
No, I'm
good
just
job.
trying to see, Karaleise, I'm just trying to have a quick meeting with all the internal team who are going to handle these, generating the batches and generating the output files and sharing it with the client. I just wanted to have a quick meeting involving all the teams to ensure that, all the processes is in place. And
Yeah. One thing I would advise is because it's files and it's data and it's kind of intricate, for continuity of the team that's going to take over when you move to your next project, I would want to have some document that they can refer to that's internal. Like, this is how it works. This is where the fields are. This is the issues that you'll probably find, and this is how you solve them. If you have a documentation person, like maybe a technical writer, fine. But sometimes the information lies with you, right? So the project will have its, yeah.
To let you know, Karaleise, we have already got the required documentation, like a design system documentation, which entails everything, all the information, how the batches need to be done from the vendor. So do I need to prepare any other
Well, I would say from the vendor is good, but what customizations have you made? That's different from what comes out of the box. So because of if you made any customizations, and especially where the files are landing and where to pick them up and where to check when you can't find the files, I would say you need something. It doesn't have to be super technical, but just like a high level, this is how it works kind of document, so that somebody who's coming after you can know where to look and how it works.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Chuko, I see you have a question on your face. What's going on? Tell me what's going on.
Thank you, Karaleise.
You're welcome, Swati. Chuko, tell me what's going on if you can speak. I know some people are at work. Chuko has all the expressions. He has sad face, he has happy face. He's so creative. That's awesome. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Swati. That's interesting. A lot of times when we get to the end of the project, we're like, okay, now what? Like, what do we do? Typically in most regular projects, not in the case of Swati, but in most regular projects, you're helping the marketing team because they might need screenshots of the new system and what it looks, and so they can put it on the website or stuff like that. You're helping the product manager or project manager because they have to prepare the release information to tell the organization, hey, this is what we built and this is where we finished. Because when you go live, there's a long checklist of stuff, right? It's not just UAT and you pass it. No, you got to go do, in my case, I'm in banking, so there's a lot of testing we do outside of just UAT. Penetration testing, all kinds of security check and testing that happens. So there's that. And then there's a lot of other things to do to communicate to this person, make sure they know which date, and there's lots of dates that have to be met for things to go out. So there's a lot of different things that happen when you're planning a release. And most of the time, by the time we get to that stage, the BA's job is kind of done. You're just a resource for information. But you have to help the team to be ready for the change. So you might be helping the trainers to train on the new process. You might be giving presentations to the different teams and let them understand what you built. You have to definitely communicate with the support people so you know how to support this thing that's coming out. So lots of, going around doing rounds of helping the different sections of the organization, different departments, be ready to accept what it is that you guys have just built and how it's going to change. So you're really in a supportive role at the end of the project. And like I said to Swati, whatever documentation you can create to free up yourself too, so people don't keep asking the same questions. How do you do this and how do you do that? Just if you can create it in a way that can share it, it's available, then that would be helpful, not just for you, but also for the team coming behind you. Because the truth is, what you build, yes, it's documented, especially if you did an agile project. It's lost in the epics and the user stories, and it's deep down. So somebody who's coming, who's not a part of the project, they just want to know, okay, how did we do this? They have to go into Jira, search for different tickets. It's lost everywhere between different sprints. It's hard to find. So if you can make it easy for them, put it together in one place, maybe a Confluence page, maybe a Word document, maybe even an Excel, and share that. That would help the team who's coming behind you to be very well prepared and be able to continue with what you guys did so much hard work in building. All right. Swati, you want to say something again? Go ahead. I see your hand up again.
Yes, Karaleise, thank you so much for your advice. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly ask you what would be the best title for this document that I'll be preparing, during this closing phase.
Sometimes people call it the BRD, even though it's not done before, it's done after, right? So it could be this is a requirement. It could just be a handover document. It could be use case document. You can call it whatever, as long as it's the purpose of it is to explain what it is that you've built and how it works, so that everybody can be clear. So you wouldn't be wrong if you call it a BRD.
Okay.
Just
Thank you,
it's going to be completely accurate because you built it already. So there's no question in that BRD. Everything there is already done. So
Yes,
even better.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right. So it looks like we're good. Any other questions in terms of people who already have a job? No, everybody's good. That's great. Well, maybe we'll end early today. So before we go, I wanted to say that for the month of February, we're in February, right? Yes. By the way, January was so long. I was like, we're still in January. So I'm happy that we're finally into a new month. Hopefully it'll be better than the month before for a lot of people and a lot of tragedies in the world. But yeah, for this month of February, given that it's a month of Valentine's Day, I want to show everybody love, right? So I have a new promotion on my website for February, where if you sign up to the Back Office Club, again, the Back Office Club is my membership program where we have regular training sessions, but you also have access to our chat. So we chat with Slack, so you can talk with other business analysts who are in the field or working, looking for a job, people in the same position as you, trying to get more robust in the BA field. So you can talk with different business analysts. So it's a networking organization as well. We have weekly activities. So we have stand-ups, kind of like this, but more focused. We have live trainings. We have different trainings per week. So like the one coming up this week, we were doing a project together. So the whole membership is doing a project. And we did some stakeholder interviews in our last couple of weeks. And now we're going to learn, how do you extract the information from that stakeholder interview and make sense of it in terms of requirements. So you met with the stakeholders, they talked about a bunch of stuff. Okay, how do you collate that? How does that translate into actual requirements that you can put on your project? So we're going to learn that this week. Last week we had stakeholder interviews, and some of our members was able to interview some of our stakeholders. So you get a chance to practice all the things that you've been learning. You get an exposure to the real world of work with the Back Office Club. So we have that, and then we also have access to the tools. So if you want to understand, how do I work in Jira, you have access to our Jira, which has the projects, user stories, examples, so you can see what it should look like, so that when you get your job, you know what you should be creating, right? And it's not just Jira, it's also DevOps. We're using the two most popular tools that we use in the real world of work, DevOps and Jira, so you get access to those. You get access to our Confluence page, so you can see all of our documentation. You can create your own as well. And there's just a lot of activities that we're doing to keep you focused, right? When you have something to do, you have a meeting to join, you have something to learn, you're more focused, and you can get exposure to the job before you actually get the job. And if you already have a job, it's also helpful, because if you already have a job, depending on which plan you get, we have 3 different plans. Part of it would include consultation with me on your project. So as you're working on the project, if you're stuck on any level, let's say you're stuck at interviewing stakeholders, you don't know what to ask them, okay, we can discuss that. Let's say you're stuck on documenting the requirements and figuring out how to break down this big thing into these smaller chunks, we can talk about that. So it helps you while you already have a job, and it helps you if you don't have a job yet, so that you can get the job. So it's a very helpful thing. I wish I had it when I was coming up. If I had this, I would have avoided so much problems, so much pain that I had to go through. But it's good I went through the pain so that you don't have to, right? You can learn from me because I already had the painful experiences. So for the month of February, I'm going to have this promotion where if you sign up for any of our plans, we have essential, professional, master's plans. If you sign up for any of those plans, then you can get consultation with me. right? So you can get to ask me question one-on-one. We have a one-on-one session where it's about your project that you're doing right now that you need help with, or about your, your job hunt, and you need some specific targeted support. You can get a chance to sign up to have a consultation with me. It's going to be 30 minutes consultation. But we can get a lot done in 30 minutes, believe me, I've done that. So if you sign up for the Back Office Club, go to backofficeclub.org and look at the options that are there. Pick the one that's best for you. And when you sign up, then you'll get, as for the month of February, you'll get an opportunity to book a consultation with me. But it ends after Valentine's Day. So, and it's based on my availability, right? So I would encourage you to do that quickly so that you can get on the calendar, and then you can get the support that you need for your career. All right, Bola, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Hi, Karaleise.
Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
Good.
So I signed up on the 31st of January.
Yes.
Like late at night, I guess.
Yes.
But I didn't get the gift card for the user stories.
So in January we had a different promotion. In January the
Yeah.
promotion was that you get access to the course.
Yes.
Yes. So
I
you'll
did-
get.
I
So
did-
if you signed up a minute before 12 a.m., you still get it. Once you sign, even though it's the 31st, you'll get it. But you have to go to backofficeclub.org and sign up there on the website itself, and then you'll
Okay.
get access to the actual course. I'll enroll you in the course, and you'll be able to see it and take the course at your leisure. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Karaleise.
Yeah. Yeah. So in January, we had a promotion, guys, where if you had signed up in January, you get access to one of our courses. So we're always doing cool stuff at the Back Office Club. So you can always check the website and see what's happening for that month. So like I said, this month would be access to 30-minute consult with me. So that's before Valentine's Day, February 14th. So there's that. So that should be very exciting. So I can give you guys some love, right? Give you some time, give you some personalized attention, and you get help. I think that would be very, very, very useful. I wish I had that when I was coming up. All right. Anything else before we close out for today? Any other questions? Let's see what you guys are talking about over here. If I could mention the job titles that I mentioned earlier, yes. So job titles include product owner, right? Obviously business analyst, functional analyst, product analyst, let's see, IT analyst sometimes, and there's a few others. I have to think back up to all of them, but those are some of the job titles that you can search for to find roles that are similar to business analyst. Sometimes even project coordinator. You'd be surprised they call the job project coordinator, but you're only doing what we do here as business analysts. So yeah. Okay, Joshua, what's up?
Yes, Karaleise, I wanted to remind you about the idea board. We have a couple of notes. We have 6 comments on the idea board. I was just reminding you.
Oh yeah?
Since you had forgotten, Karaleise. So
No, it's just that I have such a short time. I don't know. Let's see if we can get through this. So on the idea board is where we do like a regular stand-up where we have what's going well, what's not going well, and what's blocking you. So under what's going well, we have, I got a BA job interview last week, Tuesday. Woo! You didn't get the job yet. You got the interview. But we're still going to support you, and we're going to hit our gong for you. I like to celebrate people because even getting an interview is an accomplishment, right? It's a small step towards it. Hopefully you'll be able to do well, and then you'll be able to get into the role. That would be great. And reach out to me if you do, because I would love to hear that and support and celebrate you and support you. I am recovering from a hard time of being sick. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the weather. There's a lot of people that have been sick. A lot of people I know at work have called in sick. You know, people are just having flu-like symptoms. I don't know if the thing is coming back or what. But yeah, we hope you get better. I'm personally trying to stay as safe and as healthy as possible because I do not want to get sick at all. All right, what's not going well? The interviewer said they were happy with me. However, I didn't shine a light on the projects that I have worked on previously. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. So one of the things that we look for in the interview process is that we want to hear stories. We want to hear stories about what you've done And the reason we want to hear these stories is because we believe that if you can tell a story about what you did in the past, we can see you in the current role we're looking for you to fill. So if you don't come with good stories, it's kind of hard for us to see that. And then the other candidate who has the stories will captivate them, and then they'll give that person the chance. So you have to really work on your stories as well. And the stories do not have to all be business analyst stories. You don't have to pretend to have been a BA for all your life to get a BA job. We all live in the real world. We know that people switch careers, people come from different backgrounds. But if you can tell a story, even if it's a different background, but it shows the skills that we're looking for in a BA, it shows your tenacity, your creativity, your consistency, it shows good qualities, and it shows that you have these skills. That's what they want to hear, you know? So sometimes you just have to work on how you tell those stories. Okay, I am finishing a certification. This is what's not going well. I am finishing a certification in ITIL and now go on to a distance education in BA. Feels a bit overwhelming. Yeah, it is, right? You're doing a lot. So people sometimes get caught into this, I call it the certification loop, where you just want to, because the certification is something you can attain by just studying and passing an exam, it feels like you've done something. You feel accomplished, but it's a false sense of accomplishment only because the reason you're doing the certification is to get the job, right? But a lot of people spend so much time in the certification loop, just getting more and more certification, doing more stuff to feel like they're doing stuff, to feel busy. But they're not breaking that to go get the job so they can apply what they learned in the certification. So don't get caught up in, why are you doing ITIL? You're trying to be a BA, why are you doing an ITIL certification for? Why? Some people are doing AWS, why are you doing AWS for? You're trying to be a BA, you're not trying to be a network engineer. So people get caught into these certifications everywhere. And I see why, because people are always advertising some new cert to you. But you got to focus, okay? You got to focus. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to be a BA. Okay, let me do what's relevant for BA. If you told me you did a CBAP, I would say, okay, fine. You want to really be focused. But you're doing ITIL. We got to be focused, all right? We're doing too many stuff. We're spending money all over the place, and we're not getting the results that we need. It's tangential to your career. It's not directly aligning, okay? All right, what's blocking you? How can I go about building a project portfolio? So I've seen this question before about project portfolio. I don't know what you mean. Right? What do you mean a project portfolio? That means a lot of different things for different people. So you got to be more specific with your question. And as a BA, you're typically not, this is not a term that we use regularly, project portfolio. We're not project managers. And it's if it is what I think it is, it's not a job for you to be doing. But I suspect that the people you're working with are using this term. You don't know what it means to you, so you just repeat it. Okay, let me ask about project portfolio. You yourself don't know what you're asking. So I would suggest you go back to the person. You say, okay, when you say project portfolio, what exactly are you expecting to get? What documents are you looking to get? What information? Don't feel like if you ask that, you're going to tell on yourself that you don't know how to be a BA. No, they have a term that they mean something with that term, and you being new don't know what that means. Sorry guys, my computer went into sleep mode. Hopefully they let me back in. Oops. Okay. You guys still there? Okay. All right. So you need to know what this project portfolio means, and then I can tell you based on what they're intending it to mean, what you should do, because it's not a term that we use in the business analyst space. It could mean something different for them. So feel free to ask questions, guys. Don't feel like you have to know everything. You can only ask a silly question once. Once you ask it, they tell you the answer. You'll never ask it again, so you'll never be silly again. So if you don't know what they're asking you, go ask them, because only they know. Because project portfolio is not something that has a generic meaning and all BAs would know what that is. I personally don't know what you're talking about. All right. Last thing that's blocking you, I have a hard time navigating tools like roadmap tools and other tools. Which digital tools are your go-to in your work? So for me, my situation might be different because even though I'm a senior BA, I'm actually doing multiple things. I'm project manager in some sense, product manager in some sense, scrum master in some sense. I'm doing a lot of stuff. They just throw me wherever they need me. And I'm okay with that because my job is pretty good and I have good environment, good people. I love it, so I'm not complaining. But typically my go-to tools are Jira for my agile projects. I prefer Jira than DevOps. I think DevOps is not a fully complete product. There's missing things. When they get up to speed, then great. But most companies use DevOps only because it's there, right? They already have Microsoft, and Microsoft's going to give them a good deal. So they just say, okay, fine, I'll do DevOps. But a more superior product is Jira, to be honest with you. And Jira didn't pay me to say this. Atlassian is not paying me. By the way, Atlassian, if you want to pay me, I could do a good promo for you because I really love your product if you're listening to this. So, so Jira products, which is Jira and Confluence, I like those two. Second, if you have to, okay, fine. DevOps. I like Lucidchart for my designs. It's sometimes better than Visio. I think Visio is really archaic and a little old. In terms of road mapping, I don't have a tool I use a roadmap. We used to use this. What's the name of this tool? Product Plan, I think it was called. Product Planner. I could be getting the name wrong, but we had this tool that was really cool because it could take emails and the emails would come into this repository and then we could use that to determine our product roadmap. And it was really, really cool. But it's nice, but when they have to chop, they normally chop. They chop the tools that you don't necessarily need. So we use regular Excel and PowerPoint tools for our road mapping. And everything else is Microsoft, to be honest with you. So we don't have a lot of tools that are like specific to the BA role. Microsoft tools work fine, and then Agile tools. So that's what we have. All right. Okay, guys, we're at the top of the hour. This is it for our GlobalBA stand-up for the month of February. Thank you, everybody who joined. Feloni, I see your hand up, but you got to send me an email. I have to drop now, so I'll probably take your question via email if that's okay. And I'll have Joshua send you the email. I have your email address from our consult, so I'll have him send it to you. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next GlobalBA stand-up in March, okay? So join in March again and come with your questions, and we'll talk about business analyst space. Remember, I have my promotion happening on the backofficeclub.org. So go to backofficeclub.org and sign up for February, and you'll get access to 30-minute consultation with me about any topic for your career, and I'll be more than happy to help you. All right? Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye,
I'm
guys.
Karaleise.
Bye.